Alrighty, let's dive into more of your asks. Let me see, where am I starting here? Try to go to the older ones so that I can kind of do them in order. I wasn't really doing them in order yesterday. I was trying to answer the ones that most directly have to do with the most recent episode. Okay, here we go. I just finished the last episode of Daryl Dixon Season 2 and obviously have lots of things I want to ask and comment on, but should I wait until you've watched it, or is spoilers okay? Spoilers are okay. I think you actually sent this in like a week ago. So go ahead and send in spoilers. I will just give, I try to give spoiler warnings so anybody who doesn't want them can decide, opt out of listening to that particular video that I do. The thing is, they have been so widely leaked that I think anybody listening to this has probably already seen most of the leaks. I have not seen the episodes beginning to end, like all of them, but I've seen most of the like red letter moments that are important. So yeah, not a big deal. Okay, I always rewatch Beth and Daryl's 401 hug, and I've noticed something. The way Beth hugged Daryl for the first time, and what made Daryl feel so nervous because she put her head on his lap. This hug is more romantic than a friend's hug. Yeah, definitely. And that is one of the things that let us know from the beginning. Okay, we don't even have to guess at this or try to justify ourselves anymore, because they have confirmed now that there was a romantic element there. And that's why the carolers are all up in arms and ticked off, But yeah, I mean, the hug was definitely, there was definitely sexual tension there. So the way she hugged him, I mean, it was like a full body hug, and if it's your brother, like, don't get me wrong, you can give your brother a full body hug, but it's just the way they did it, there was more sexual tension in it. And it would be, I always said, if the writers really did mean for Beth and Daryl to be a brother-sister relationship, that's kind of twisted, because I do not look at my brother that way. Like, I do not like stare into his eyes across the smoky candlelit dinner. Like, that would be kind of strange, That's like Game of Thrones crap right there. So yeah, but the other really big giveaway is the fact that the sweater falls off her shoulder. And the reason that's such a big giveaway, it's one of those things where, can that happen in real life? Because, it was quote unquote an accident, right? Which we all know was not actually in terms of the writing. But yeah, if I was hugging my brother, could my sweater accidentally fall off my shoulder? Sure, and it wouldn't mean anything. But in fiction, they put in elements like that on purpose to let us know where the story is going. So the fact that they put that in shows that it was romantic. Just like him saying the damn romance novel line, also, they would not have put that in if it wasn't a clue to something. Okay, so absolutely 100%. The hug told us where it was going. And the rest of the fandom who didn't believe that was just in denial, and they can't be in denial anymore because it's been confirmed. So yes, thank you for sending that in. All right, Granny TWD. We'll probably never know what Norman meant by Daryl and Beth's side mission. Oh yeah, the little rant I went on about that. But the thought came to me that maybe it was them planting the seeds of what would become Bethyl, still waiting for that harvest. Second thought, think of how stressed we would be if Daryl and Isabelle were a thing at the time Beth comes on the scene. Oh, the angst. So I'm actually very happy about how they played this, even if it did include a kiss. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I do like what you're saying about the side mission being a foreshadow, especially if... And maybe this isn't exactly what you meant, but if the two of them end up going on an important mission, like after Beth shows up, but after they get together and after everything happens, when we go into what I believe is going to be a major war of some kind, whether it's with the CRM or someone else, if the two of them do some sort of side mission that's a big deal at that time, that's a big part of the war or something, then yeah, 100%, they probably were foreshadowing that, and they're hinting at that by calling it a mission. So I do really like that interpretation, for sure. But yeah, it also could have just been them... I kind of think that, and I said this before, but I don't know that I said it well, it could be that they just picked a word to talk about it because they need a way to talk about it without giving anything away. So they're like, okay, well, what if we call it a side mission? And then they always use that. And not that that really tells us anything one way or the other, but it does show that they're very careful about what they say and that they have talking points, which is all stuff that we've had before. So yeah, totally, I agree. And yeah, I mean, I've wondered too if, I don't know, I never in particular want Beth to have a boyfriend when she and Daryl come together. But I've got plenty of headcanons where there's some guy hanging around her who's like an ex-boyfriend of hers, and then we could have a little bit of a jealousy thing going on, just because, that would be fun, and that's just my headcanon. And it's not that she likes this guy at all. It's just a way to drum up some drama in the little Beth and Daryl world. So anyway, those are just my headcanons. But anyway, so yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think they would always kind of have to kill off his love interest before she shows up, because otherwise, yeah, it would be a little too awkward. And that's not necessarily been true of other characters. I mean, well, I guess maybe the only one is Rick and Michonne, because there was Jesse, and Michonne was obviously there during that. And I think she probably knew that Rick had a thing with Jesse, but I also, noticed that they went out of their way to not really address it. So they didn't show Michonne being jealous. And maybe we're supposed to think that she really didn't know, that it was going on because she was busy doing other things. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, it's also true that Carol was not with Tobin in a way that Ezekiel saw, so it kind of depends, I guess, on the character. But anyway, just me rambling, but I totally agree, and I'm very happy about how it played out as well. I've actually really loved the season and all the storylines in it. I hope you don't take this as hate or bashing, but I myself have hoped for many years that Beth will somehow return. But what if all the spin-offs end and Beth doesn't return and everything we've analyzed over the years actually meant and led to nothing? I mean, obviously, I don't think that's going to be the case, so this is not something I sit around worrying about. I think the real goal here, though, because I've had a lot of people tell me that, what if it doesn't happen and you've just spent all this, like they're basically saying, what if you just wasted all this time doing that? Guys, I'm never going to feel like I wasted time doing this, even if Beth never shows up, which I 100,000% believe she will. I love what I do, and it's a hobby, and it's fun, and I love the show, and I love the characters, and of course, what I'm looking forward to is Beth and Daryl getting together. And I think we've got more evidence this season than we have ever had before that is where they're heading, and it's going to be relatively soon that we see her, either in this season or the next one. But even if she never shows up and it never comes to fruition, I'm still not going to regret any of what I've done. It has helped me become a better writer. It has helped me to grow as a person. It has, I've made so many friends in this fandom who are just fabulous. It has helped me have something to focus on when I've gone through some hard times in my life. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I think the bottom line to not ever feel ashamed of what's going on is just to be okay with it if she doesn't show up, and just be proud of what you're doing, and just say, hey, I mean, think about what you would say in that case. You know what? This is something I believed in, and I'm not ashamed of that. Like, so what if it never happened? It was still fun, and it was still something for me to believe in, and it helped me find friends, and it gave me hope, during this time in my life, and all of that. And just don't think negatively about it like that. And at the end of the day, I do think that we are going to see her very soon, so I'm not worried about this not taking place, but if it did, that's fine too. Like, I'm not going to be depressed or sad or suicidal or anything like that. I'll just say, well, that's a shame because it would have been a great storyline and we all loved it so much, but, life goes on. So I don't know if that's helpful to you, but I also don't want anyone to take it as I'm counting on her not showing up. No, 100%. She's going to be here. She's going to show up. But I just don't worry about this because I don't let it get me down either way. Either way, I'm having a good time. I love what I do, and I would do it either way. So I hope that helps. Okay, spoiler. Isabelle does get stabbed. It reminded me a bit of Beth with the tiny scissors. I've heard this. I've actually heard carolers, which is interesting that they're picking up on this, say that it's a replay of the Scissors and Dawn. And they're really pissed off because they think it's stupid. And over here, we're all like, I guess I shouldn't say celebrating because we don't want to make it look like we're celebrating that Isabelle is dying, but we're celebrating to see that symbolism being replayed. Isabelle uses a small bit of metal. This is the drain that she kicked. She took off that drain cover when she was sitting on the other side of the wall from Daryl, and it's jagged. To start a fight, it seems she knows she won't win. It's very odd considering how smart she's been so far, but it did seem in the scenes with her and Daryl in the cells where she asked him to just talk to her so she could hear his voice, and he was talking about America and how they could just basically live a quiet life, that she knew she wouldn't be going with him. You've probably talked about this before. What's your guys' theory on why Beth did what she did? I thought maybe she was going for Dawn's neck and missed. I really don't know what Isabelle thought she was going to achieve. Maybe just a last moment of defiance, but it will certainly give people ammunition to call her useless and pathetic, a bit like how they do with Beth. It's frustrating because I have a real soft spot for characters that they don't turn into female Rambos. Anyway, just wondering if you have any thoughts on what I felt was a similarity. Absolutely. Okay. Lots and lots to unpack here. Obviously, I've already talked about how it's a replay of Beth, and that's important because we're seeing a lot of replays. In this last episode, we saw a replay of the choreography for Daryl in Alone when he went down into the basement. We're seeing replays of Grady. We're seeing replays of various part of Still and Alone. Carol said Daryl was her brother, just like Rick told Daryl he was his brother. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We're seeing lots and lots of replays. So this is just another way that they're going to be replaying Coda. And once I learned that Isabelle was going to die, I went, well, that's just one more way she's like Beth. She had, remember in season 1, she had the scars on her arm, just like Beth's. Like, no way he couldn't have thought of Beth when he saw that, because they're almost identical to Beth's, okay? So she's definitely a proxy. And he's going to lose her, just like he lost Beth. About the scenes where she's talking to him, I did mention this in my regular symbolism analysis video, that she was very, very sad in those scenes and seemed resigned. And I was wondering if maybe she was hiding a walker bite or something. I've seen other people, wondering about that too. If she's being super heavily, I could see it either way. Like, it wouldn't bother me either way. If she is hiding a walker bite, that would make sense for why she was acting that way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly the same as Beth, although because of the bite cure theory, we also wonder if possibly Beth was bitten. But Beth was not acting in Coda in that final scene the way Isabelle was acting here. She wasn't acting hopeless and like it wasn't going to work and, I'm just going to sit here and cry for what might have been. I mean, that's completely the opposite of what Beth was doing. So it was odd that Isabelle was acting that way. But as you say, maybe I'm almost wondering if she just kind of lost her hope. So if there doesn't end up being a walker bite or any kind of injury like that, again, it's really weird that we didn't see her get captured. And it's really weird that apparently she was being beaten and, they were torturing her for information, same as Daryl. And maybe she just, kind of finally lost her will to keep going. Like, okay, this is just not worth it anymore or something like that. And so she's thinking she will try to kill Lo Sang to save Daryl and Laurent, but she's also, like you said, assuming that she's not going to be going with him. I think that's true. Whatever the reason, we don't understand the cause, but I do think that's a good way to put it. When she's talking to him here, she even says that what he says about what they could do when they get back to America sounds like a dream. And that's just her way of saying it's not reality. It's not actually going to happen for us. Now that I'm thinking about it, here's one more possibility. He said, I could see this either way, so we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But he said, I didn't tell him anything, and she said, neither did I. But what if she did? I mean, the fact that we didn't see her getting tortured, maybe she did tell them something and felt bad about it, and she just doesn't want to tell him that. And the only other reason that I think that could be a possibility, that could be why she wants to kill Lo Sang, so that, what she told can't be used against Daryl and Laurent. But then remember when that scene ended, he came in and got her and said, hey, we need to talk to you some more. If they'd already tortured her and she already refused to answer, why are they singling her out again? Anyway, I'm just a little bit suspicious about that whole thing and what's going on, but I'm assuming we'll figure it out in the next episode. So yeah, our theory about why Beth did what she did, I don't know that I have one that's really, really concrete. I mean, in terms of the I get it now, I know that we've had some things that it's like, okay, that's probably what she meant. And I'm not going to remember what they all are because there's lots of different theories about this. But I think it was mostly a matter of her finally understanding the truth about Dawn. And so it wasn't just that Dawn was good or Dawn was bad. It was her really understanding the dynamic of someone like Dawn, that she says one thing and does another, that Dawn had the opportunity to be the bigger person. And when she demanded that Noah be given back. Remember that, too, she looked at Noah and said, I knew you'd be back. And that's when Beth looked up at her, and Beth just wanted to kill her when she said that. And so it's like understanding that Dawn, you know, she's got some things that we could be sympathetic with her about, but at the end of the day, she chose to be the villain. And so I think it's Beth just understanding the whole dynamic and coming to understand people and that kind of toxic leadership. You know what I mean? And of course, we don't have Beth's thoughts, so we don't know what was going through her head right then. So the other thing is that both Emily and Gimple, when it happened, started saying the same thing. So you can tell that Emily probably got this from Gimple as a way to talk about it, because they knew people were going to have questions. They knew people would be like, okay, but why did she do that? And what did that mean when she said that? And, you know, what was going on there? And so they just started saying, oh, well, she had this moment of overconfidence in herself. So she'd become a very confident character, especially after being with Daryl for a while, but it was a moment of overconfidence, which makes it sound like she kind of had an error in judgment. Personally, I think there's more to it than that. I think that she was trying to take out Dawn. I do think she was trying to take her out, and maybe not kill her. People always say, well, Beth was dumb because you must have known those tiny little scissors weren't going to do anything. But I don't even know that she was trying to kill her. She was trying to knock her down a notch and say, just because you're the leader doesn't mean you get to do this. You know, that sort of thing. And I think it will make more sense once we get the full story of the 17 days and Grady. But I'm actually very, very interested to see what happens with Isabelle, because we might be able to take what happens with Isabelle, the concept behind it, you know, from a high level, and apply it to Beth, and then maybe we'll understand things a little bit more. But once again, we didn't see Isabelle get taken. We didn't see her get tortured. We don't know if she's hiding an injury or a bite, right? So it's still a little up in the air right now. And it could be that we won't know any of that. What if they don't show us any of that? What if they don't show us whether she had an injury? What if they don't show us ever what she said or how she got tortured? It would actually kind of mirror all of the mystery, let me say that again, around Beth. You see what I mean? So whatever is going on there, I think that they've taken pains to hide it. And so anything we say about why she did what she did is just going to be conjecture until we know more. But I mean, yeah, like you say, Isabelle, like, what are you actually going to do with that? It's one of those things, yeah, if you're John Wick and you're in some sort of ninja movie, then maybe you could use a jagged corner like that to cut someone's throat. But somebody like Isabelle, I mean, she's really not a warrior. And if she has a gun or something, that's different, but she's not like Daryl, where she's really good at killing. So yeah, I mean, what is she actually going to do with that? Probably it's not going to go over well, since we know what's going to happen. But anyway, it is already giving people ammunition to call her useless and pathetic. Yeah, we've already seen the certain shippers call her that. It's unfortunate. And I agree with you. I like the Rambo characters among the female characters, but I also like the ones that are not that way. I get a little bit pet peevish about shows that make every single character like that a Rambo character. And not that it's bad, but see, that I think that's why so many of us identified with Beth, because she did learn to survive, and I am looking forward to seeing her being kind of a badass in her own right and having learned to survive. But she's also very feminine. She's not really a Rambo type. And yeah, Isabelle even less than Beth was. So I agree with you on that. So yeah, those are kind of my rambling thoughts. I don't have anything really concrete, but I think I kind of need to wait until I see the next episode, and then I might have a little more insight. So thank you for sending that in. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it there for today, and I will try to get back with more Ask videos before episode 4 drops. If I possibly can. All right, until then, have a wonderful week, and yeah, talk to you then. Bye.